Hi, this is Dr. Darwin, the new dentist coach, with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin, where you ask questions about dental school, about oral health care, getting into dental school, getting through dental school, life after dental school, also residency too. But today we're joined with a future student, Dr. Hossein, who is applying to dental school. And if you guys have questions also about applying to dental school, getting some tips and some strategies, you can always reach me and shoot those questions to me at newdentistcoach@gmail.com. Right here, newdentistcoach@gmail.com. So welcome, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so glad to see you again. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because we met at a student impressions day at the University of Maryland. So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. A little bit of background. I was born and grew in Iran. I moved to the States in 2010. And then I went to Nova, which is a community college. I live in Virginia. So I went there for 2 years. I transferred to the 4-year University George Mason. And then I was always involved with dentistry. I got a job with oral surgeon, which was like way back in 2010, 2011. And then I finished my bachelor degree. I took a gap year. I went to Iran because I used to help one of the dentists in Iran. We used to go to like these neighborhoods and help people. I took a gap year to go back and help her out again. And then I came back. Recently, I'm studying for DAT, and I'm planning to apply this cycle.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the profession, man. And I say that to you because I consider you already in it, because anyone who knows, who's been through this process, you feel like a dental student and actually preparing for getting into dental school. So that's today's kind of series that we're going to be talking about, getting into dental school. And you're interested in, or you're preparing to apply for this cycle, which is the 18-19 cycle, to start in the 2019, which means the class of 2023. So again, I welcome you, and I actually applaud you for making the decision to become a dentist. So welcome, my friend, welcome. So you mentioned that you're in preparation for taking the DAT. With that comes your actual application. So this is your first time applying to dental school, correct?
The first time, yes.
Okay. So you're familiar with the DAT and that requirement, and you're also familiar with the application process, especially the two things that are also important, which is your background, your CV, your curriculum vitae or resume, and then also your personal statement. And all three of them are equally important and have significance in getting you to the next step in applying to dental school, which is getting the interview.
Yes.
Getting an interview. So keep in mind, we're doing all of this, or you're doing all these three things to get the interview. That's the next step. That is the next step. So let's talk a little bit about how you've prepared to get the interview. You sent me your CV and also your personal statement, which I love. And one of the things I wanted to talk about with you, let's start with your personal statement first. There's a great resource in both the personal statement and also for the CV. Great resource that's out there if you haven't looked at it already, with ASDA, the American Student Dental Association. And I give them a plug because they have some really good resources for pre-dents in preparation for school. They even have some sample CVs. They also have some sample personal statements and things that you should be looking for in deriving your personal statement. I also just recently came across another new book that's put out by a recent new dentist who just graduated a couple years ago. And there's a book that she put together of actual essays or personal statements, maybe about 50 to 60 personal statements from various students that are actually either just graduated dental school or recent Um, they're in their either their D1 through D4 years currently. And I don't have the I can't think of the name of it right now, but I'll include it and send it to you. But it's a book that you can get out on Amazon, I think, and it has both copies of, again, personal statements, and someone actually went through them and looked at that particular or those particular personal statements and kind of wrote a synopsis of what they liked or didn't like or what have you. And I think that's going to be a great resource for you too.
I actually used another book, which was, if I can find it, it was for medical students. It was kind of the same. I think it was Darwin for like essays for medical, personal statements for medical, something like that.
Good.
Really helpful, yeah.
Now, what did you find? I'm going to have you turn your volume up a little bit too. What did you find that was helpful when you were doing your personal statement that you took from the med student examples?
I mean, I think that the summary of that was that just be true and then tell your story. Whatever your story is, just put it in there and then be truthful. Don't make anything up. So that's what I did. I made a lot of drafts. So I just put the story down. I made outlines, and then I wrote my letter. I gave it to one of my friends to just read it, give me some feedback. I rewrote the whole thing. I put more ideas in there. That's what I did. I did a lot of drafts, like drafting, proofreading. That was the whole point.
Yeah, and I can see that in your statement is very that you wrote was very thought out and very intentional in telling your story. And I think that's the one point that I wanted to mention that I liked about your statement that you sent me, that it tells a story. It helps to frame who you are, because that's one of the things you've got to do. There's over 11,000 people applying to dental school. And the schools that you're applying to, you could have a couple thousand just for, anywhere from 80 to 60 spots in a class to up to 200 in a class at NYU. So there's a lot of people. It's probably at least 1,000, probably more than that. I don't know what the statistics are. Probably close to 2,000, 1,000 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000 people that are applying to one particular school. So one of the things is with your statement, which you probably already know, you've determined and found out, you got to find a way to set yourself apart. And one of the ways to do that is to tell your story. And through your personal statement, you've got a unique story. So can you share that with me?
The story?
Yeah.
As I was a kid and my mom had this friend, she was a dentist. We used to go to her office a lot. And then one of the reasons, as a kid, that was always a question for me, that why would we go to her like for a regular checkup? And then the reason was that she was so funny and she was charming. She always helped me, led me to assist her. I was like 5'6", but suctioning and all those kind of things. And it just got me into it, I loved it. And when I moved to the States, I was like, I just want to follow this. So I worked with the oral surgeon. I became a vice president of our pre-dental club at George Mason. So I was always involved to see, if this is really, really my path. And, I realized that is it. I just want to do dentistry. So I was always involved with all these dental related stories and with all these dentists who help people. I went with these neighborhoods with her and help people out with her colleagues. It was really fun. It was really, I never forget it.
So it was
I want to do the same influence on other people that they had on me.
Right.
Dr. Bhatia and Dr. Arman, people that I worked with.
So it was that experience, that encounters, or those multiple encounters with Dr. Arman, that allowed you to say, you know what, this is what I like. This, I like what she's doing. She made an impression on you.
Yeah, that's what I did. I took a gap year last year instead of taking I don't know if it was the right choice or not, but I always used to like go with her and shadow her and see, what's going on. But last year I went to Iran, I helped her out. Like I was her assistant going to those neighborhoods, and like, I was one of her assistants instead of shadowing her because I got more experience and I become a assistant for almost like 5-6 years here. I was like, maybe I should go back and help her out.
Right, right. Now you said you went with her back into the neighborhood, back in Tehran, correct?
Yes, yes.
So what year was that? That was like 2015, 16?
So last year when I graduated last year spring. No, 17.
Okay.
When I graduated. Yeah.
Because I see that in your statement, but I think you should actually put the date in your statement.
Okay.
Because you have down here a few years later, she took me to a neighborhood in the south of Tehran to help some poverty-stricken family in the need of oral care.
That was when I was a child. Then I moved here, and last year when I graduated from George Mason, I took a gap year, and I went back to Iran to help her.
Oh, okay. Now, did you mention any of that in your statement? I can't find that there.
Yes, yes. Later on in my statement.
Let's see. Well, I would just make a recommendation if I can.
I graduated from George Mason. I think it's the last paragraph.
That last paragraph? Yeah, last year I took a gap year, go back to Iran. Okay, last year. Yep. I would just put a date. Like in 2017, I took a gap year to go back to Iran and to the same neighborhood I learned that I used to go with Dr. Armand. We raised $5,000 for friends and family. That's great, man. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so yeah, I would put a year in there just so that it shows the connection between 18 when you're applying in 2017 that you were actually there. But what I like is that your statement tells a story, and that's what I tell my residents and also pre-dents is that you want to be telling the story. We want to find out something about your experience that the school can connect to, or that connects you to the school, and especially that connects you as a potential candidate, dental school candidate. So I love how you kind of frame that with your statement. I also like the fact that you mentioned making a decision to work in a dental office, to ask for a job and getting that experience. That's an important part of your pre-dental experience, that schools want to know that you know what you're getting into, or you have some exposure to what you're getting into in the profession. So if there's any other, I think there was one notion of working in Dr. Batia's. It's in Dr. Batia's office that you mentioned.
That's how I become in love with oral surgery.
Yeah.
Oral surgery.
So I would mention that too. I know you were talking about some of the biopsies and other things that you guys did with the CT scan images. But I would mention also mentioning how you became and how that spurred your interest in the specialty area of oral surgery. So I would add something in there about oral surgery. Is that something that you're still interested in as a specialty?
Yes.
So if I can, I'd like to jumpstart to 2019 because I'm thinking you're already going to get in. You're a first year dental student. If you're thinking about oral surgery, all right, you definitely want to start the first year fast. And when I mean fast, is think of it like this. When you start your first year of dental school, everybody has a 4.0.
Yes.
Your goal and your challenge is to keep that 4.0. Okay? Especially for oral surgery, man. Oral surgery, they like numbers. They like high numbers. And the highest number GPA wise right now is a 4.0. So that means, those core classes, anatomy, physiology, biochem, those courses where there are more than maybe 5 or 6 credit hours, they're going to weigh very heavily on your GPA. And you need to be leaving out of your first year with a high GPA, because those courses that you'll take the first year carry through second, third, and fourth years, your D2, D3, and D4 years. They have a lot of weight. And the lower the scores or the grades in those courses will potentially lower your overall GPA later on.
Yeah.
All right. So just a little sidebar as relates to the future, but I think you should definitely mention how this experience has you passionately thinking about pursuing career in oral surgery. You mentioned in your last paragraph, after going back to Iran to work with Dr. Rahman and doing your gap year, about if accepted into dental school and becoming dentist, using the opportunity to have the same influence on others that the other two doctors had on you. In addition to that, I would want you to try to find a way to make reference of what you're going to bring to the dental school, right? Because you got to remember, it has to be a win-win, in the sense that, yes, you're paying money for tuition to get trained, but also the schools, they're going to train you, but they also want to know how you're going to contribute to the school, right? How you, by admitting you and allowing you to get trained there, what is the school going to get besides tuition money, right? Because the school can always get tuition money for anybody. Dental school is in high demand, so they can get money from anybody. But what are you going to bring? What makes you unique enough that you're going to bring certain skills and how are you going to contribute to the school? So that might be something that I would tell you, I would consider maybe ending off on, this is how I plan to contribute to the school in addition to the dental profession. And, you may want to tie back into some of the accomplishments that you have on your CV as being vice president of the Pre-Dental Society Club for those last 3 years. I would highlight some action items, some things that you can demonstrate that show your contribution to the Pre-Dental Society Club and how that correlates to you being a member of ASDA or SNDA or ABC group or whatever it is at your future dental school. Because in the interview, you will get the question of, well, why you? Why do we need to consider you, Doc? What makes you the best candidate? Why should we consider you? And you have to talk about your experience, but you also have to talk about what you will bring to the school community. But it is a separate community. In addition to the community that they service patients in, they also have their own little microcosm within the school community. So you're going to be part of that. How are you going to contribute to the excellence that is at that school? So I would tell you, strongly consider putting something there towards the end to kind of sum it up, and and right after that, I would say, um, something along the lines of having the opportunity to interview at the school will I have a phrase, I can't remember. Being granted the opportunity to interview at the school would be a way of you being able to demonstrate and show them your passion and your excitement about this professional development opportunity. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you can use those words, or we can play around with those words. And then as far as a personal statement, let's see an updated draft of that, and then we can proceed from there. That sound cool?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. And then the second thing is your CV. Let's talk about that real quick. One of the first things that stand out to me about your CV is that it's small. And it could be how it was reading on my computer and when I printed it out. But you got to remember, when you do these CVs and these resumes, some people will say you only need to have everything on one page. Well, if you've got a lot of accomplishments and you've got a lot of duties and responsibilities and things, one page ain't going to work. But even if it's one page where it's front and back, you want to make sure that you're filling up this whole width of this page, right? Yeah. Almost to the point where you don't want to see any white space.
Yes.
Right? It's almost like if you look at your eyes, you see that your eyes are fully consumed with color, but not more so of the white part of your eye. You want to fill in the whole sheet from left to right with everything. I shouldn't see it.
I heard. To put it in one page, so I was trying to fit everything in one page.
I know, but the challenge in doing it in one page is that now you've got font that is so small, Doc, that I need to have my loops on. All right? And it shouldn't be that way. Look, if I'm reviewing this, I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh God, I gotta go get some loops. Either that or now I feel bad. I feel bad that because now I'm showing my age because I can't read this. So looks like you got maybe like 8 font size, 8-point font size or something like that. It's too small. Too small. Now, maybe how it's showing up on yours, it may be different. But you want to be able to you want the person reading this to be able to read it and go through it and not have to look up on it and try and get closer and closer or have a magnifying glass back out. Because that's going to be a turnoff. It's going to be a turnoff. It's going to be like, oh, God, all right, well, okay. And they're going to just kind of browse through it instead of maybe really looking at it in depth. So that was the first thing that I saw. So I would recommend that you strongly consider changing the font so that we can see more of what you're showing us. That'll be the first thing. Second thing is you've got employment history first, and you've got education second. So I think typically, we'll find out, you will see in some of the other CVs and resumes, I would say more than half of the time we go with education first. And then we talk more about employment history. Because basically, by you putting employment history first, it gives the appearance that, all right, you're applying for a job versus an actual position, a professional education position. So that's another reason why I would flip it. Put your education first, and then you flip and put the employment history second. Also, with leading into the education, George Mason and Northern Virginia Community College, and then your school in Tehran. Was that a high school? What was that?
Yes.
Okay, like a secondary school or something like that.
Yes.
So I would just you might want to spell that out and just say Danish Vahid Secondary School or something like that, or put in parentheses high school or something like that. Okay. I like that you highlighted that you were a tutor, honor roll, best of students. Any other awards or achievements?
For Danish? No.
No.
That was it.
Okay. Well, since we're talking about that, let's move on up to education as it relates to George Mason.
Yes.
Bachelor of Science, and you had a minor in business. What was your major?
Yes. Biology.
Okay, so I would want you to, even though you have it on the sidebar, even though you have it over here, I would put that here also, because what if I don't look at the sidebar? You know, if I'm not looking at the sidebar, I may miss it. And then when I go to the back, which is now going to be the front, so you want to have that Bachelor of Science, biology major, and then underneath that, then you put minor in business. I like that you have dean list there. But what constituted dean's list at GMU? 3.0, 3.5, 3.7?
I think it's 3.6 or 5. I'm not sure.
All right, so again, I would want you to find out what exactly it is and then put that next to it. Mm-hmm. Dean's list, maintain 3.5 and above, or whatever that is. All right. It's okay to be boisterous about your achievement, especially at 3.5. Shucks, I wish I had 3.5, man. Please.
It's not that high.
Well, it's higher than some people have who are applying to dental school. So you want to highlight that. All right. Highlight that, whatever that dean's list is, because you don't have it anywhere else. So tell me what it is by showing me what it is, which means if you got dean's list, you want to put that in bold, and then you also want to put whatever that is, whatever that number was that you had during that time.
Yeah.
Now, granted, when they see your transcripts as part of your applications, they'll see it there, but also you want to signal it to them here also, because they may be looking at your CV first before they even get to your transcripts. All right. Yeah. Remember, the people that are looking at this, they're looking at hundreds and hundreds of applications, and they're looking for certain criteria. Coming from college to dental school, they're looking at your DAT score, they're looking at the overall grade, and then looking into the science grade, right? Immediately. Those are the first two numbers they're looking at. For your CV, they're looking at your GPA in college. They're looking at what maybe your major is in college. And they're also looking at your extracurricular activities as relates to student leadership, student involvement. And we're also looking into your work experience. Have you had some interns or externships or some volunteer experience in an office or in a place where oral health is discussed or is practiced, and what's been that experience? So those are the things you've got to highlight quickly in your CV, because those are the things that they're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Another reason why that font has got to be bigger, because if I have to send out a search committee to try to find where the stuff is on your CV, then you've lost half of the battle. Again, this is my opinion, just based off of things that I would be looking for and things I know some of the directors of admissions are looking for as they are screening candidates, because that's what you have to keep in mind. They are screening hundreds and hundreds of candidates using your document or documents that you submitted. So that's what I would highlight under George Mason is put in your biology, put in your 3.5, explanation of what Dean's List means. And also the same thing maybe for Northern Virginia Community College, all right? That associate's degree in biology. Again, you put Dean's List. I would put, what that meant GPA-wise. Give me a number. Give me a statistic. Okay? So now education comes first, and now employment history comes second. But one of the things that I would tell you, you may want to consider creating another section called professional activities in organizations, or just activities in organizations, because again, I want to see that section. I want to see your involvement outside of just going to school and going to class and being a biology major. I want to see what clubs you were part of. I want to see what extra activities as relates to relating to other people that you were involved in. And right now, I don't see anything on here about that. I see it very small, again, under your education, under vice president of the Pre-Dental Society Club. But I think that achievement and that involvement, that activity deserves a bigger area for you to display it and show it. So I would create another bullet head setting like you have for education, like you have for employment history, to maybe include activities and organizations. And you would list the pre-dental club, any other clubs or societies and things that you were involved with, anything with your biology major?
No.
No? So just that club?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Well, what I would do then is I would still maybe create a separate entity for that. And then just like you have for all of your employment history, I would bullet point out, 3 to 5 different points of what you did as vice president of that club. How did you make that club better? What were your contributions to the club? What ideas did you share and implement that made the club, that allowed the club to fulfill its mission or whatever that was, right? Because again, you gotta remember, this is particularly in alignment with what you would be doing or what you will be doing as a dental student, right? So where's the connection? So just putting it down there is only 1/8 of the reason why you put it down. You also want to put it down so that you can explore and share what your contributions were for that organization.
I see.
That's what's going to make you unique. That's going to be the key tie-in to how you plan to contribute to the school that you're going to go to. Right?
Yes.
And I think maybe, and again, this is just my feedback. On the side here, you've got a sidebar, which I've seen in some, which is fine. A couple of things that I would update in here. In addition to you making it bigger from left to right, and then also having your font being bigger, what's going to happen is you're probably going to end up having to move this over a little bit, over closer to this margin, so that you have more space from here to there. Here, in this area, I think you have your address there. I would take out United States, unless you are applying to schools in Canada.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Yep. I would take that out, and I would also add. You need to put, if you live in Ashburn, you need to put Ashburn for VA, not just the zip code, but put VA, and I would take out United States. Okay. Skills, X-ray certified. What does that mean? Like, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I took this course and become X-ray certified. I got the certification for it, for CPR and X-ray.
Okay. I think those things are, I mean, you're going to learn all that stuff in dental school. I don't know if you necessarily need to keep that there, unless you take this section that you have here with skills and everything else and tie it into another segment, like, how we're getting ready to do a new activities and everything else. I would make another subheading on skills and certifications.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Make it much bigger than you keep it on this side so that it pops out, And you may want to consider changing this if some of these things are going to be have its own area, right? You may want to consider a little small narrative as to, I don't know. I'm going to say maybe a small narrative as to why you're pursuing dentist, why you want to be a dentist, and maybe, 1 or 2 sentences you can put there if you decide to keep this subsection here. I've seen some CVs and resumes where people will put their picture here. Put your picture right here, and then underneath it, you'll have your address and some other highlights. All right. If you're doing this, basically what you're using it for, I would think, as a quick reference, and you're highlighting some of your accomplishments, right?
Yeah.
So I see this section as that picture, address. It shows you where you live, you're out of state, or wherever school you're applying to. I would even put your GPA here, right? Dean's List 3.5, George Mason, or 3.7 at Northern Virginia Community College, right? Highlight that. I like your notion of your languages. You put your 2 languages that you speak. You can highlight that there too, right? Again, if you're going to use this, use it to your advantage, because this is like a quick reference area, but you also got to increase it so we can see it.
Yeah.
All right. And last but not least, what I would recommend, and also underneath your name, you've got, I think you started to put your address there. Make sure you take out United States and just put in VA, and you get your telephone number. You might even want to just put this detail that's here, Doc. The detail that's here, you might want to put it underneath there.
Mm-hmm. Under my name.
Under your name, or if you want to keep it here, make it bold enough so that we can see it. And if it's not going to be underneath your name now, if it's going to be deleted, make your name bigger.
Sure. Yeah.
like it's in bright lights. Make your name bigger, right? Again, this is a showcase of you. This is a synopsis of you.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, like I said, and then maybe put a picture here. And then, like I said, last but not least, I like the last part at the bottom here. You might want to put references. Some people, when they do put references, they say available upon request. I would tell you, if you've got 3 hardcore references that so if someone were called and they would be able to speak about your character, I would say go ahead and put their names and telephone numbers and their email address right there. Make it easier for those that are reviewing your document to go right to the source of who those references are.
Mm-hmm.
And then in exchange for that, make sure that you contact the references and let them know, hey, Dr. So-and-so, thank you for being a reference. Thank you for writing a letter of recommendation for me. Just wanted to let you know I put you down on my CV, your name, your telephone number, and your email address in case they want to contact you directly. I hope that's okay. Are there any other instructions you want me to give them, or how you want? Is there a special email, another email address you want me to give, or another telephone number you want me to give? Okay.
Yeah.
I would put that on there. I would not just put references available upon request. Make 3 bullet points: full name of the person, telephone number, and email address.
I see. Mm-hmm.
So, any questions?
No, I think that pretty much it. It was really helpful. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. That was the purpose of us in this session, this coaching session, to continue to tweak that. So let's do this. I wanna see. You got some homework. I definitely want to see a revised version of this with some of those changes that I recommend that you consider. One other thing I just forgot. Under your employment history, you have both dental related and you have some non-dental related.
Yeah.
What I want you to do is separate them.
I see.
Put the dental first, and then you put non-dental second.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
I put them in order based on the dates, like the current one.
I don't care when you did them. I'm more concerned that it's more specific to the professional development opportunity that you're pursuing, which is dentistry. So I want to see your dental history first, right? Your entrepreneurship is great, but it's specifically about the mobile food marketplace that you created, which is awesome. It shows that you're busy, you have a business acumen and have some entrepreneurship, which is part of dentistry too. But admissions people want to know your employment or association with offices as relates to applying to dental school first. So under employment history, you're going to have 2 subheadings. You're going to have dental, and then you're going to have those 2 experiences as a dental assistant. And then the next subheading you're going to have, you can put non-dental.
Or other experiences.
Yeah, the non-dental experience. I like the co-founder, the chef at Hungry. That's making me hungry, actually. I need to get some food. And I also like the other non-dental one. I don't know, at Moby Dick's. I don't know if we need that one.
Okay.
Motivated staff, recruit. I mean, maybe. But what is Moby Dick? Is that a restaurant?
Yes.
Okay, so you're a manager. Okay. I mean, that does show your abilities to and experience with working with people, which you have to do all day long as a dentist. So now maybe keep that, but just explain what Moby Dick is. I would put Moby Dick restaurant or whatever it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But again, subheadings: dental, non-dental. With dental first, you want to have that because we want to see that. Okay, we've got to see that.
Yes.
Got to see that. All right. But like I said, let's circle back up. I want to see an update of your CV, and keep in mind, it's part of a process. Try out different fonts, different sizes, maybe moving that quick list, adding your picture there in the corner, upper left-hand corner. And then again, making the CV, make it spread out on your 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper here, all right? Because you got too much white space, I think.
Yes.
You can maximize that space to your advantage. Okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So maybe in the next 2 weeks we can follow up and we will have an updated version that we can look at one-on-one.
Sure. Awesome. Thank
Great,
you very
man.
much.
So I'm glad that you found this session helpful, and I think it's going to continue to just polish your application and your candidacy for school. In addition, as you're looking at making these updates, I'm sure you have already, but continue to make your list of schools that you are planning on applying to. We can talk about that.
Can you just give us like some quick tips on Maryland, like what makes an applicant more stronger, like for University of Maryland?
Yeah, we can talk about that in let's do another session. We can talk about that. What I would tell you is the best source for that, though, is you need to talk to the students. You need to contact the students.
Yeah.
The people that you met at the Impressions Day, you need to contact them now. Because they've gone through that process, and some of them may have been already selected to be on the admissions committee for this year or even for last year. So you want to talk to the rising D4s who just finished their D3 year right now.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay. All right, man. So that's our time. Thanks so much for entrusting in me and being able to kind of help you guide through this process. I would recommend if you want, we can do some more coaching. So you have more access to me and just my time, and I can we can share some ideas as to some things that I think will help you along this process, because it's not just, again, these two things that we're talking about in addition to the DAT are things that help you get to the interview. Then once you get to the interview, you got to be prepared for that, right?
Yes.
So, but I think we've got some things that'll help you along the way over these next 6 to 12 months as you're going to be interviewing and coming up with offers and making decisions as to where you want to go based on not only the school, but finances, location, all of that. So I would be glad to help and coach you through that process, okay?
Awesome. Thank you very much. It was extremely helpful.
You're great. You're welcome, man. Hey, you guys that are listening, if you also want me to maybe go through your CV or your personal statement and kind of give another set of eyes about it or look at it maybe in a different way that you have, shoot me an email right here at newdentistcoach@gmail.com. newdentistcoach@gmail.com. In the subject heading, you can put Coach Me or personal statement, CV, or applying to dental school, any of those types of things, and we'll get you linked up. Hey, Doc, and I'm calling you Doc because
I just want to add something. Also,
yeah.
Your YouTube channel.
YouTube channel. See, I got my buddy already plugging for me on my YouTube channel. That's right. YouTube
it's really
channel.
helpful because it has like different subjects, different students talking to. It's amazing.
Yes. Thank you. YouTube channel, Dr. Darwin Speaks. Hey, man, thank you so much for helping me plug.
Awesome.
That's good, man. Hey, thanks so much, and let's circle back up in about 2 weeks, and we'll get this one section knocked out.
Sure. Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, man. Take care. Bye-bye.